Hey, it's Aaron Smith, the Art Guy, and I am vlogging again, which is kind of weird, but it's been literally years since I was making videos on a regularly scheduled basis, and I kind of want to start doing that again. So let's see how long this lasts. Last vlog was the recap of how much fun I had at Powering Up Technology, which is an awesome annual conference, but today I want to talk about my curriculum and a problem that I'm encountering. Now, when I taught the technology major at the school that I'm at, I had a lot of creative freedom, and the first thing I did was I gamified my instruction because technology is such a broad spectrum of things. There's no way I could be able to teach all of it. So by gamifying it, I allowed students to pick their own lessons off of a list that I curated, of course. I mean, I designed each lesson. Each lesson fit with the curriculum standards for the county and yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, they were selecting the lessons that interested them, which meant that they were in charge of their own education. They were deciding what coursework they were going to be working on. It was almost like a college experience in that regard, except instead of picking your courses, they were picking projects. But, you know, it's middle school. What do you expect? But this year, there is no technology major. It's media arts, which is kind of cool in that it opens a lot of doors for me and how I want to run the program. I can now take auditions from students outside of the building, which I could not do before because we've got a little bit more compatibility with other schools that offer the same major. We were the only school that had a technology major, so that works out well for us. But at the same time, media arts focuses a lot more on video production than on the broad spectrum of other things that I was also focusing on, which gets to be a bit of a problem because while I do know how to do video editing and I do know a lot of the basics, I wasn't focusing on video production. I was focusing on all the other things that involve technology. So not all of my students started off with the skill sets that they needed for this. And we kind of want to be in the film festival this year, going up against people who have been focusing on media arts and media production for quite some time now. This can be a bit of a problem because, again, my instruction is gamified for the most part, where students are selecting their own projects, and many of them are selecting projects that focus a lot more on still photography or graphic design or game design as opposed to, hey, let's make a movie. There's some overlap, but let's face it, it's not a circle in a Venn diagram. There is overlap and then there's lots of stuff that doesn't fit. So what do? Well, I redo my curriculum again. I don't want to get rid of the gamification. I don't want to get rid of letting students pick their projects. That is something that's really near and dear to my heart. Anytime I tell them they have to do a specific project, a little part inside of me dies because of it. But I want them to build these skills. I want them to build their skills in cinematography and the other things as well, but to focus on the cinematography at least at the beginning. So I've created what I refer to as a challenge project. And this is when I put the challenge out there, it's a stop what you're doing, work on this instead project. And when they're done with that challenge project, they move back to the choice assignments where they get to pick what they're doing. So it's sort of like give and take. It's a little bit of one, a little bit of the other. And many of them do enjoy the challenge projects. There's also a bunch of them that are like, well, I don't want to do this. I'd rather just sit and watch YouTube videos. Okay, well, there isn't really a project where they sit and watch YouTube videos, so they'd be out of luck either way. But this is how I'm trying to focus on building up their movie-making skills. So like the project they're doing now, it's a 1-minute challenge assignment where they have to storyboard it out. And I started off being really mean. They have to show emotion without using any characters. There can be no characters in their movie at all, and that includes personification. They can't make you feel sorry for a lamp and make you feel sad because a lamp is being treated poorly. They've personified the lamp if they do it that way. They've got to use creative camera angles, they've got to use post-production skills, and the whole thing can't be more than a minute long. Now, they are allowed to use music, and I've shared Incompetech.com with them, which is a great source for free music, so long as you cite it properly. Citation's a big thing. And I'm teaching that as well. Some of them are having a little bit of trouble with that, and some of them get it really fast. And also the YouTube audio library, which is a very, very dynamic collection of music. A wide variety of categories and styles and genres. And there's some stuff in there that's Creative Commons licensed, so you have to be very specific in how you provide attribution according to how things are written up, but you can literally copy paste it from the YouTube audio library in. And there's other stuff in there that is totally 100% royalty free. You can use it for anything, and for that the citation is a little bit different, but they still have to cite everything. They still have to cite all their sources, if I can speak properly. So we're going to see how that goes. This is only the second time I've given them a challenge. The first time I gave them a challenge, I said, okay, so you got to hand in 5 projects this quarter. Your challenge needs to be handed in as project 1, 2, or 3. So that gave them a bit of leeway as to when they had to start working on it. This challenge, I told them all before the quarter started. We're in the beginning of second quarter. I said, okay, so your very first project this next quarter is going to be a movie assignment. Here's the instructions for it. And that's what we've been working on. And at this point, we've got one person who's finished, and everyone else is still working. And that's going to be a thing, because I've also gamified my instruction in how I assess things. My students are used to the idea, because this is what happens in all of their other classes. My students are used to the idea of, you work on something, you hand it in, you get your grade. It's a good grade, it's a bad grade, that depends on a lot of different factors, but that's your grade. You're either happy or sad about it, you move on. A lot of them move on without trying to think about what they've learned from the experience, which is a horrible way of looking at it, because then what have you learned? You're not learning anything other than, hey, let's try to throw as much stuff together as we can for the project, usually doing it at the last moment. The way I'm doing my assignments is, when they hand in a project, that's when we start our dialogue. Matter of fact, right now I'm having them hand in whatever they've been working on in class. They submit that via Google Classroom at the end of class. They can unsubmit it and continue working on it whenever they have a moment to, but they submit their progress every single day they're in my room. Every single day they're in my room, I sit down, I look over everything they've submitted, I provide feedback, I give comments. Hey, I like this, this needs some work, you don't have any citation here, I'm looking forward to seeing that, etc., etc., etc. That is key, that is really important, and yes, there's a project grade involved, but the grade is pretty much the end cap. It says, congratulations, you have done what I asked you to do. I believe you have learned what I wanted you to learn from this assignment. It's not an assessment so much as it is letting them know, yes, you have done what I asked you to do. Fantastic. And it is so backwards from how they do every other project, every other assignment, in every other class, that I'm not entirely sure we've reached the apex of our learning curve for that yet. We're still working. I'm still working. They're still working. And we're going to see how that goes. So, thanks for watching. I hope you join me on this wonderful journey of learning and education with me as I continue these vlogs. Hopefully I'm going to keep pumping these out on a semi-regular basis. And until next time, have fun.